Good evening, all of you. Welcome back. We are continuing with the biotics chapter. So we have done Huygens principle, secondary wavelets. Young's double slit experiment is also done. We have seen the experiment. Expression for fringe width is done. Position of dark fringe, position of bright fringe is also done. Yeah. Position of dark fringe and white fringe is done. Next. Next is a lengthy derivation. Mathematical condition for constructive and destructive interference. Constructive and destructive interference. Mathematical condition for constructive and destructive interference. It's a very lengthy derivation. Actually, the derivation is not important. Only the final answer is important. So, I'm just explaining the steps. Let y1 is equal to first wave displacement a cos omega t, y2 is equal to a cos omega t plus phi. What is y1? Displacement produced by coherent source S1. Coherent source S1. I hope you guys know the original figure, coherent sources. What is y2? Displacement produced by coherent source S2. Coherent source S2. That is a displacement produced by coherent source S2. So what will be the total displacement? Y is equal to y1 plus y2. So total displacement y is equal to what? A cos omega t plus a cos omega t plus phi. Why I am doing so? Because it is due to principle of superposition. Total displacement will be what? Vector sum of principle of superposition. Y equal to a cos omega t plus a cos omega t plus phi. So a is taken outside. So cos omega t plus cos omega t plus phi. Now what is phi? Some of you might be wondering what is phi. Where phi is the phase difference between the displacement produced by S1 and S2. Produced by S1 and S2. The displacement produced by S1 and S2, where phi is the phase difference between the displacement produced by S1 and S2. Phi is the phase difference. So we know that cos A plus cos B is equal to 2 cos A plus B by 2 into cos A minus B by 2. What is cos A plus cos B? 2 cos A plus B by 2 into cos A minus B by 2. This is the standard equation trigonometric formula. So here instead of A, what we have? Omega t. Instead of B, what we have? Omega t plus phi. So y is equal to, what we are getting? A into 2 cos omega t plus omega t plus phi by 2 into cos omega t minus omega t plus phi by 2. So that is equal to y is equal to A into 2 cos omega t plus omega t, 2 omega t plus phi by 2 into cos omega t minus omega t minus phi by 2. So y is equal to A into 2 cos 2 omega t by 2 plus phi by 2 into cos minus phi by 2. Now we know that cos minus phi by 2 is cos phi by 2. So y is equal to, A is taken inside, 2A, this 2 gets cancelled, cos omega t plus phi by 2 into cos phi by 2. Remember, cos minus theta is equal to cos theta only. Cos minus theta and the cos theta. What is the equation we got? 2A cos omega t plus phi by 2 into cos phi by 2. Now remember, I am writing in this way because in our equations, what are the first equation? Cos omega t, cos omega t. I am writing cos phi by 2 first and cos omega t plus phi by 2 second. Cos phi by 2 into cos omega t plus phi by 2. This is the equation for the resultant wave. This is the equation for the resultant wave. What is that equation? 2A cos phi by 2 into cos omega t plus phi by 2. Now, when you consider this equation, you should understand that here initially what we have, that cos omega t is one term, the other term is what? Amplitude. Here A is what? What is this small letter A? Amplitude of the wave. Initially, what is small letter A? Amplitude of the wave. That you have studied in +1 wave chapter. +1 waves. A is amplitude. Instead of amplitude, what we have in the final answer? 2A cos phi by 2. The resultant amplitude at point P. That point P we discussed in the last chapter in Young's double slit experiment figure. Point P. What is the equation for amplitude? When you examine this final answer, you can see instead of amplitude A, what we have? 2A cos phi by 2. So resultant amplitude is equal to 2A cos phi by 2. This is the equation for amplitude in Young's double slit experiment. 2A cos phi by 2. We know that intensity is proportional to amplitude square. Intensity is proportional to amplitude square. I directly proportional to A square. I is equal to Ka square. I is equal to Ka square. So what will be the intensity here? If K equal to 1, in Newton's second law, F equal to Kma, but we used to write K equal to 1, F equal to Ma. If K equal to 1, we can write what? I equal to A square. So I is equal to, what is A? 2A cos phi by 2 the whole square. 2A cos phi by 2 the whole square. So I is equal to what? 4A square cos square phi by 2. I equal to 4A square cos square phi by 2. Now, Put A square equal to I0. What is I0? Maximum intensity. A square equal to I0. Then I is equal to what? I is equal to what? 4I0 cos square 5 by 2. This is the equation for intensity. I is equal to what? 4I0 cos square 5 by 2. What is I0? A square. What is I0? A square. So what we are deriving? I am taking physics plus 2 physics, second volume physics, chapter name wave optics, topic name Young's double slit experiment, and what I have taken now? Mathematical condition for constructive and destructive interference, and here I have derived the resultant intensity I is equal to what? 4I0 cos square 5 by 2. What is the equation for intensity? 4I0 cos square 5 by 2. Please note it down from the start. Step it out in ചോദിക്കട്ടോ. എഴുതി കഴിഞ്ഞ എല്ലാവരും കയത്തൂരുണ്ടോ? കയത്തൂർ വേഗം ഫിനിഷ് ചെയ്യട്ടോ. Good evening, all of you. Good evening. Anaga, Aishwarya, Anjana. Hi. ഇനി ശ്രദ്ധിക്കുക. So resultant density is what? 4I0 cos square 5/2. Next is condition for constructive interference. It's an important board exam question. Condition for constructive interference. Condition for constructive interference. Condition for constructive interference. The equation for intensity at point P is what? I is equal to 4I0 cos square 5/2. This is the equation for intensity. I is equal to 4I0 cos square 5/2. Now, for constructive interference means what? For constructive means what? Maximum amplitude. For constructive interference, for constructive interference, cos square 5/2 should have maximum value. Cos square 5/2 should have maximum value. Should have maximum value. That is, what is the maximum value means what? That is cos square 5/2 should be equal to 1. Why so? Why so? Because maximum value for cos is what? 1. So cos square 5/2 should be equal to 1. Which means phi, that is phase difference, phi can have value. Which means phase difference, phi can have value. Values phi is equal to 0 plus or minus 2 pi, because cos 0, phi is 0 means what? 0/2. What is 0 by 2 0. What is cos 0? 1. Then phi equal to 2 pi. Why I am taking 2 pi? Because it is then cos square 5 by 2 will become what? Cos square 2 pi by 2, that is cos square pi. What is cos pi? Cos 180 minus 1. So cos square 180 also, cos square 180 becomes means what? Plus 1. Plus or minus 2 pi. Then what? It goes on like that. Plus or minus 4 pi. See, here there is a tendency for students to take phi as pi. Because students will think that cos 180 is minus 1. But there is a problem. There is pi by 2. So if you take phi as pi, then pi by 2 becomes cos 90 and it becomes 0. That means minimum. So that you should not do. So you should take what? Phi equal to 0 plus or minus 2 pi plus or minus 4 pi, etc. Because in both sides in the screen you can see upper side and lower side. That is the reason why we are taking plus or minus 2 pi. Okay, 4 pi, etc. So what is the condition for constructive interference? The condition for constructive interference is that interference is that phase difference between two superposing waves should be even multiple of pi. Phase difference between two superposing waves should be what? Even multiple of pi. That is the condition for constructive interference. What is that? Why even multiple of pi? Because 0 into pi, 2 into pi, 4 into pi, etc. Now it is important to understand that relation between phase difference phi and path difference lambda is that, phase difference phi is equal to 2 pi p by lambda. This relation should be by hearted. Relation between phase difference phi and path difference lambda. Now it is given, we have found out 2 pi p by lambda is equal to, what are the different values of phi? 2 pi p by lambda is equal to what? 0, 2 pi, 4 pi, etc. That means path difference is equal to what? Lambda 0 divided by 2 pi, lambda 2 pi divided by 2 pi, lambda 4 pi divided by 2 pi. This means what? Path difference is equal to 0, lambda, 2 lambda, it goes on like that. That is path difference should be, integral multiple of lambda. Path difference should be between two superposing waves. Should be integral multiple of lambda. Path difference of two superposing waves should be integral multiple of lambda. That is what is the condition? N lambda, where n can have values 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. See, this is a very important theory question for CBSE and Kerala state students. What is that question? What are the conditions for constructive interference? in terms of phase difference. What is that condition? Phase difference should be an even multiple of pi. What is the condition for path difference for constructed interference? Path difference should be an integral multiple of lambda. Note here, important. നോട്ട് ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാ ഐശ്വര്യ മുരളീദാസ് കഴിഞ്ഞ ദൃശ്യ കഴിഞ്ഞ നോട്ട് ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാ പറയാ അപ്ഡേറ്റ് ചെയ്യേ. ചെയ്താ എല്ലാവരും നോട്ട് ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാ ഇനി അടുത്തത് എന്താ കഴിഞ്ഞു എന്ന് വിചാരിക്കണം എല്ലാവരും. ഓക്കെ, നെക്സ്റ്റ് കണ്ടീഷൻ ഫോർ ഡിസ്ട്രക്റ്റീവ് ഇന്റർഫിയറൻസ്. ഡിസ്ട്രക്റ്റീവ് ഇന്റർഫിയറൻസ് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ആംപ്ലിറ്റ്യൂഡ് മിനിമം ആയിരിക്കും കേട്ടോ, ഇന്റൻസിറ്റി മിനിമം ആയിരിക്കും. ഡിസ്ട്രക്റ്റീവ് ഇന്റർഫിയറൻസ് intensity I is equal to what? 4I0 cos square 5/2. For destructive interference, for destructive interference cos square 5/2 should have minimum value. Minimum value. Now what is the minimum value for cosine function? It is -1. All of you remember cos 0 is what? 1, cos 90 0, cos 180 -1, cos 270 0. Okay, so what is the minimum value? Cos 180, that is -1. But we can't take cos 180. Why? Or pi? Because it is what? Cos square. So there is a problem. So phi should be equal to what? Cos square 5/2 should have minimum value. So phi should be what? 5/2 should be what? That is cos 5/2, cos square 5/2 should be what? 0. Cos square 5/2 should be what? 0. Because 0 is the minimum value. -1 value we won't get. Why? Since we are having cos square. Since there is a square term, you won't get minus value. So in order to get 0, what should be the phi value? Phi should be equal to pi. That is, phase difference should be what? Pi. Phase difference should be equal to what? Pi, 3 pi, 5 pi, etc. Why I am saying that the 5, 3 pi, 3 pi, 5 pi, etc.? What is the reason behind that? Because if you substitute phi value as pi, what is cos square pi/2? Cos 90, and cos 90 will be what? 0. Then similarly, if you substitute 3 pi instead of phi, if you substitute 3 pi, what will be 3 pi/2? Cos 270, that is also 0. It goes on like that. So phi can have value what? Pi, 3 pi, 5 pi, etc. That is phase difference between two superposing waves should be what? Should be odd multiple of pi. Odd multiple of pi. Now phase difference phi corresponds to relation between phase difference and path difference is what? Phi equal to 2 pi p by lambda. So 2 pi p by lambda is equal to what? Pi, 3 pi, 5 pi, etc. So path difference is equal to what? Lambda pi divided by 2 pi, lambda 3 pi divided by 2 pi, lambda 5 pi divided by 2 pi. That means what? Path difference equal to lambda by 2, 3 lambda by 2, 5 lambda by 2. That is for destructive interference. That is for destructive interference. Path difference between two superposing waves should be odd multiple of lambda by 2 or 2n plus 1 lambda by 2. 2n plus 1 lambda by 2, where n can have value, where n is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, even or 2n minus 1 lambda by 2. With this formula also you will get the same answer, where n can have value 1, 2, 3. Both conditions are correct. Why? If you substitute n value 0, 2 into 0 plus 1, 1, that is lambda by 2. If you substitute 1, 2 into 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3 lambda by 2. If you substitute in this equation, if you substitute n equal to 1, 2 into 1, 2, 2 minus 1, 1, lambda by 2. If you substitute 2, 2 into 2, 2, 4, 2 into 2, 4, minus 1, 3, 3 lambda by 2. So both conditions are satisfied. These are the conditions for destructive interference. Destructive means what? Amplitude minimum. Constructive means what? Amplitude maximum. Destructive, amplitude minimum. Amplitude minimum means intensity minimum. Amplitude minimum, that is intensity minimum. Constructive, intensity maximum. All of you done? Finished? Done? Note it now. Note it now. Okay, again, resultant intensity at point P. Point P figure okay, I'm writing one more time. Monochromatic source of light S. This is S1, this is S2. This is the screen at a distance of capital letter D. These two coherent sources are at a distance of small letter d. Then fringe width is equal to what? D lambda by d. Position of the nth bright fringe is what? N d lambda by d. Position of the nth dark fringe is 2n minus 1 d lambda by 2d. I hope you guys remember all these equations. Resultant intensity at point P, I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus 2 root I1 I2 cos phi. This is the equation for resultant intensity. Now, this equation for resultant intensity. Now, for constructive interference, phase difference. In some books you can see delta phi. Phase difference delta phi is equal to 2n pi, where n can have value 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. Path difference delta x is equal to, see, we used to write p, instead of p we are writing delta x is equal to n lambda, integral multiple of lambda. Okay, now maximum intensity means what? Phi value will be what? 0. Cos 0 is equal to 1. So I max is equal to I1 plus I1 plus I2 plus 2 root I1 I2. I1 plus I2 plus 2 root I1 I2, because cos 0 becomes 1, which is I max is equal to what? Root I1 plus root I2 the whole square. This is the condition for constructive interference. That is maximum intensity, I max. Now similarly, minimum intensity will be what? Yeah, note down. Okay, I should write. I use another color. I'm writing here for destructive interference. For destructive interference, what should happen for destructive interference? Delta phi is equal to, destructive interference equation is same, so phase difference should be intensity equation is same. What is intensity equation? Let me write the intensity equation one more time. I1 plus I2 plus 2 root I1 I2 cos phi only, 2 root I1 I2 cos phi. Cos phi is outside the root. So delta phi is equal to, what was the condition for phase phase difference delta phi is equal to, the condition is 2n plus 1 into pi, where n can have value 0, 1, 2, 3, that we know. What is that? If you put 0, it is what? Pi. If you put 1, 2 into 1, 2 plus 1 is what? 3. 3 pi. That is what? Odd multiple of pi. And phase difference will, path difference will be what? That we have discussed. 2n plus 1 lambda by 2. And the path difference is what? 2n plus 1 lambda by 2. Now, some of you might be wondering, sir, earlier you had written one equation. Earlier, Lindo sir had written one equation, I is equal to resultant density is 4I0 cos square 5 by 2. Now you are writing another equation for the same intensity. How it can be possible? See, in the initial equation, I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus 2 root I1 I2 cos phi. In this equation, if you substitute I1 is equal to I2 is equal to I0, what you will get? I is equal to what? I0 plus 2 root I0 cos phi, right? So I is equal to what? 2I0 plus 2 into I0 cos phi, right? That means what? I is equal to what? That means what? Instead of I1 we are writing I0. Instead of I2 also we are writing I0. Then what we will get? 4I0 cos square 5 by 2. 4I0 cos square 5 by 2. Please note down these conditions. അത് എഴുതിയെടുക്ക് കേട്ടോ. നോട്ട് ചെയ്യട്ടോ. ഈ ഇക്വേഷനാണ് നമുക്ക് പലപ്പോഴും പ്രോബ്ലം ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ആവശ്യം വരിക. ഞാൻ നേരത്തെ ഡിറൈവ് ചെയ്തപ്പോൾ ഈ ഇക്വേഷൻ യൂസ് ചെയ്തു. ബട്ട് ഞാൻ എന്നിട്ടും ഈ ഇക്വേഷൻ എഴുതാൻ കാരണം പ്രോബ്ലം ചെയ്യാൻ റിസൾട്ടന്റ് ഇന്റൻസിറ്റിയുടെ ഈ ഇക്വേഷൻ ആവശ്യം വരിക കേട്ടോ. ഒക്കെ എഴുതിയേക്കണത് രണ്ടും സെയിം തന്നെയാണ്. അത് നമുക്ക് പ്രൂവ് ചെയ്യാം രണ്ടും ഈക്വൽ ആണ്. പക്ഷെ പ്രോബ്ലം ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് ഈ ഇക്വേഷൻ ആണ് ആവശ്യം വരിക. നമ്മൾ തിയറി ആയിട്ട് ഇന്റൻസിറ്റി എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്ത് കണ്ടീഷൻ ഫോർ കൺസ്ട്രക്റ്റീവ് ഇന്റർഫിയറൻസ്, ഡിസ്ട്രക്റ്റീവ് ഇന്റർഫിയറൻസ്, when you write that you have to use this equation, but both are same only. നോട്ട് ചെയ്താ? ഇവിടെ വേറൊരു പോയിന്റും കൂടിയിട്ട്, ആംഗുലർ വിഡ്ത്ത് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞൊരു ഇക്വേഷൻ ഉണ്ട്. ആംഗുലർ വിഡ്ത്ത്, ഈ ഉള്ളിലത്തെ ആംഗിളില്ലേ, അതിനാണ് ആംഗുലർ വിഡ്ത്ത് എന്ന് ഡിനോട്ട് ചെയ്യുക. അതിനെ ഇപ്പം ആൽഫ എന്ന് ഡിനോട്ട് ചെയ്തു നോക്കി. ആംഗുലർ വിഡ്ത്ത് ആൽഫ, ആംഗുലർ വിഡ്ത്ത് ആൽഫ, അത് ഓർത്തോളൂ. ആംഗുലർ വിഡ്ത്ത് ആണ് ആൽഫ. Angular width alpha, then this will be what? Fringe width beta, this will be d. Angular width alpha is equal to, please note down this equation, angular width alpha is equal to linear width by distance between coherent source and screen. Distance between coherent source and screen. Distance between coherent source and screen. So angular width alpha equal to, what is equation? Alpha is equal to linear width beta by d, capital letter D. Listen, define angular width. ഇത് എൻട്രൻസിനാണ് ഇക്വേഷൻസ് ചോദിക്കുക. ഇക്വേഷൻസ് ബേസ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് പ്രോബ്ലം ചോദിക്കുക. ആംഗുലർ വിഡ്ത്ത് ആൽഫ ഈസ് ഈക്വൽ ടു വാട്ട്? ഫ്രിഞ്ച് വിഡ്ത്ത്, ലീനിയർ വിഡ്ത്ത് അല്ല, സോറി, ലീനിയർ വിഡ്ത്ത് അല്ല ഇതന്നെ, ഫ്രിഞ്ച് വിഡ്ത്ത് ഏതാ? ഫ്രിഞ്ച് വിഡ്ത്ത് ബീറ്റ ബൈ ഡി. ആംഗുലർ വിഡ്ത്ത് ആൽഫ ഈസ് ഈക്വൽ ടു വാട്ട്? ഫ്രിഞ്ച് വിഡ്ത്ത് ബീറ്റ ബൈ ഡി. ഇതെല്ലാം ഇക്വേഷൻസ് പഠിപ്പിക്കലാണ്, ഇക്വേഷൻസ് പഠിക്കലാണ്. ഇക്വേഷൻസ് ഓർത്തു വയ്ക്കലാണ്. ആംഗുലർ വിഡ്ത്ത് ആൽഫ ഇസ് ഈക്വൽ ടു ബീറ്റ ബൈ ഡി. ഓർത്തു വയ്ക്കുക, ആംഗുലർ വിഡ്ത്ത് ആൽഫ ഇസ് ഈക്വൽ ടു ബീറ്റ ബൈ ഡി. Angular width alpha is equal to, angular width alpha is equal to fringe width by distance between coherent source and screen. Alpha is equal to beta by d. Alpha is equal to beta by d. Now, listen, I am writing in the same screen so that it will be helpful for you. I hope it is not getting confused. Now, alpha, angular width alpha is equal to fringe width beta by d, but we know that beta is equal to d lambda by d. So, angular width alpha is equal to d lambda by small letter d by capital letter D. So d lambda by d. So d gone. So angular width alpha is equal to what? Lambda by small letter d. Angular width alpha is equal to lambda by small letter d. What is lambda? What is lambda? Wavelength of light used. നമ്മൾ ഈ എക്സ്പീരിമെന്റിൽ യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ലൈറ്റിന്റെ wavelength. Wavelength of light used. What is d? Distance between coherent sources. Distance between coherent sources. Distance between coherent sources. നോട്ട് ചെയ്യാട്ടോ, അത് നോട്ട് ചെയ്യണേ. നോട്ട് ചെയ്യട്ടോ, ഇക്വേഷൻസ് ഒക്കെ നോട്ട് ചെയ്യും. നെക്സ്റ്റ് ക്ലാസ് വിൽ ബി ഡൂയിങ് പ്രോബ്ലംസ്. സോ ഇക്വേഷൻസ് നോട്ട് ചെയ്യണം. വേഗം എഴുതട്ടോ. ഇനി അടുത്തത് ഒരു ഇക്വേഷൻ കൂടി എഴുതാണ്. എൻട്രൻസിന് ഒരുപാട് ആവശ്യമുള്ളതാണ്. ഇന്റൻസിറ്റി directly proportion to width of slit directly proportional to square of amplitude. Square of amplitude. ഇത് വളരെ ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ് ആണ് കേട്ടോ. Intensity എന്താ? Directly proportional to width of the slit. Directly proportional to square of the amplitude. ഓർത്ത് വെക്കുക കേട്ടോ. Intensity directly proportional to width of the slit. Directly proportional to square of the amplitude. Intensity directly proportional to width of the slit, directly proportional to square of the amplitude. കേട്ടോ. Intensity directly proportional to width of the slit, directly proportional to square of the amplitude. Intensity directly proportional to width of the slit, directly proportional to square of the amplitude. എഴുതിണ്ടാവുന്നിരിക്കണം. അപ്പൊ നിങ്ങൾ മനസ്സിലാക്കേണ്ട കാര്യം എന്താ വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ I directly proportional to width directly proportional to a square. That means I1 by I2 is equal to intensity ratio is equal to width ratio W1 by W2. That is equal to what? Square of amplitude ratio. ഇത് എൻട്രൻസിന് ആവശ്യമുള്ള വളരെ ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ് റേഷ്യോ ആണ്. Ratio of intensity is equal to what? Ratio of width, that is equal to ratio of what? Square of amplitude. അത് എൻട്രൻസിന് ആവശ്യമുള്ള ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ആണ് കേട്ടോ. അടുത്തൊരു പ്രോബ്ലം ചെയ്യാം. കുറേ നമ്മൾ തിയറി പറയണേ. നെക്സ്റ്റ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ, വാട്ട് ഈസ് ദ ratio of slit width? What is the ratio of slit width if the amplitude of light waves from them are in the ratio of √2:1. Also find intensity ratio. So this is the question. So I know that. So first of all, we are writing, okay, this is the formula we are supposed to use. It is given that amplitude ratios are given. So A1 by A2 is what? √2:1. But what is our requirement? A1 square by A2 square is equal to what? 2/1 or 2:1. So that is the square of the amplitude ratio, which means what? Width ratio will be what? W1:W2 is equal to what? Same ratio, 2:1. Which means what? Intensity ratio is also same. I1:I2 is equal to 2:1. Any doubt? മനസ്സിലായോ? എന്തിനാ നമ്മൾ ആ ഇക്വേഷൻസ് പഠിച്ചെന്ന് മനസ്സിലായ? അതിന്റെ അപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ മനസ്സിലായോ? W1 by W2. അത് ഇത് കഴിഞ്ഞില്ലേ? അപ്പൊ സ്ലിറ്റ് വിഡ്ത്ത് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താ? ഓരോ ഇവിടെ ചോദിച്ച സ്ലിറ്റ് വിഡ്ത്ത് എന്താ? ഓരോ സ്ലിറ്റുകളുടെ ഇടയിലുള്ള ഗ്യാപ്പ് നമ്മൾ കാണിച്ചില്ലേ, 2 സ്ലിറ്റ് വെക്കണത് കൊഹിയറൻസ് സോഴ്സുകളായിട്ട് ആക്ട് ചെയ്യണ സ്ലിറ്റുകളല്ലേ? ആ സ്ലിറ്റിന്റെ ഇടയിലത്തെ ഗ്യാപ്പാണ് എന്ത്? സ്ലിറ്റ് വിഡ്ത്ത് ട്ടാ. ഓക്കെ, നെക്സ്റ്റ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ. ആ സ്ലിറ്റുകളുടെ ഇടയിലുള്ള ഗ്യാപ്പാണ് സ്ലിറ്റ് വിഡ്ത്ത് ട്ടോ. അടുത്ത ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ. Two coherent sources have intensity in the ratio 25:16. The ratio of intensity of maxima to minima after interference of light occurs will be dash. Intensity in the ratio what? 25:16. Given intensity is in the ratio 25:16. 25:16. I1 is to I2 is equal to 25:16. The ratio of intensity to maximum intensity to minimum intensity we have to find out. Now amplitude ratio will be what? First of all we should know the connection. I1 by I2 is equal to what? A1 square by A2 square. So amplitude ratio A1 by A2 should be equal to what? Root of I1 by root of I2. So amplitude ratio A1 by A2 is equal to root I1 will be what? Root 25 by root 16. Root 25 by root 16, that is equal to 5 by 4. That is amplitude ratio is what? 5:4. Amplitude ratio എത്ര കിട്ടും? 5:4 കിട്ടും. And now what we have to find out? Ratio of maximum to minimum. So Imax is equal to what? Root I1 plus root I2 the whole square. That is maximum intensity. We have studied this equation. Root I1 is what? 5 plus 4 the whole square. So what will be the answer? Root 5 plus 4 the whole square 81. And I minimum will be what? Root I1 minus root I2 the whole square. So what is root I1? Root I1 is what? 5 minus 4 the whole square. That is I minimum is equal to 1. Now ratio of intensity of maxima to minima, that is I max to I minima will be what? 81 by 1 or 81:1. Doubt now? Clear ആണോ? മനസ്സിലായോ? ഹലോ, അതെ നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞാലേ വിഡ്ത്ത് W1/W2 ആണ് കേട്ടോ. അതായത് I1/I2 is equal to വിഡ്ത്തിന്റെ റേഷ്യോ W1/W2 ആണ്. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ഈക്വൽ ടു A1² / A2² ആണ് കേട്ടോ. W ആണ്, ഒമേഗ എന്ന് വായിക്കരുതേ. ഒമേഗ ആംഗുലർ വെലോസിറ്റി വേറെ. ഡൗട്ട് ഉണ്ടോ? Next question. Next question. If the two slits in YDSC have width ratio 4:1. Width ratio 4:1. What is the ratio of intensity? What is the ratio of intensity at maxima and minima? At maxima and minima. So our next question. Okay, try to do it yourself. തന്നെ ചെയ്യട്ടോ. സ്ലിറ്റ് വിഡ്ത്ത് ഈക്വൽ ടു ഡി അല്ല മക്കളെ, എനിക്ക് വീണ്ടും കൺഫ്യൂഷൻ. ഈ സ്ലിറ്റ് വിഡ്ത്ത് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാലേ ഡിസ്റ്റൻസ് ബിറ്റ്വീൻ കോഹിയറന്റ് സോഴ്സ് S1 S2 ആണ്. എന്ത്? സ്മോൾ ലെറ്റർ ഡി. സ്ലിറ്റ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ വാക്കിന്റെ അർത്ഥം എന്താ? സ്മോൾ ഗ്യാപ്പ് ആണ്. ആ സ്മോൾ ഗ്യാപ്പിന്റെ വിഡ്ത്ത് ആണ് ഈ W1 W2. മനസ്സിലായോ? വന്ദനയ്ക്ക് മനസ്സിലായോ? ഇത് തന്നെ ചെയ്യട്ടോ. എന്നിട്ട് ആൻസർ പോസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുക, ആൻസർ ടെക്സ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യട്ടോ. ആൻസർ 9:1 കിട്ടിയിട്ടുണ്ടാവും. Again, I1 by I2 is equal to what? W1 by W2 is equal to what? A1 square by A2 square. So that is done. Here width ratio given, W1 by W2 is equal to what? 4 by 1. That is equal to I1 by I2. I1 by I2. കിട്ടിയില്ലേ? അത് കിട്ടിയില്ലേ? പിന്നെ അത് വെച്ച് ബാക്കി കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചൂടെ? ഇനി മാക്സിമം ആംപ്ലിറ്റ്യൂഡ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താ? മാക്സിമം ആംപ്ലിറ്റ്യൂഡ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താ? എന്താ ഈ മാക്സ് ഈക്വൽ ടു എന്താ? റൂട്ട് ഓഫ് I1 പ്ലസ് I2 അല്ലേ? ദ ഹോൾ സ്ക്വയർ ആണ്. മറ്റേതെന്താ? റൂട്ട് ഓഫ് I1 മൈനസ് I2 ദ ഹോൾ സ്ക്വയർ. സോൾവ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് എത്ര കിട്ടുന്നുണ്ടാവും? 9:1 കിട്ടുന്നുണ്ടാവും. ഡൗട്ട് ഉണ്ടോ? 9:1 കിട്ടുന്നുണ്ടാവും. എല്ലാവർക്കും 9:1 കിട്ടിയില്ലേ? സോ മാക്സിമം ആംപ്ലിറ്റ്യൂഡ് ടു Imax by Imin എത്ര വരും? 9:1 or 9:1. Any doubt? Yeah, all of you got that. Okay, so thank you. Next class we will be doing more problems. Then we will be studying about diffraction at a single slit. This is double slit. Next class we will be studying about diffraction at a single slit. Okay, so thank you all of you. Thank you. Good night.